My name is Floris Alkemade. I'm an architect and urbanist. The first part of my career I worked at the Office of Metropolitan Architecture in Rotterdam. I've been there for 18 years as one of the partners of the office. And since 5 years I have my own office working in the Netherlands and a lot of projects in France as well. I've worked all over the world almost, but Albania I've never been, and to me it was always an intriguing country, being so different, being so isolated also. So what I hoped for was to find conditions you would not find elsewhere in the world, like being different as a quality. And some cities are really difficult, really closed, and to my surprise, Tirana is actually a real open city. The streets are really animated, and what I also like when I talk about architecture is the total freedom of mixing different styles, because a lot of cities have, of course, had more control and therefore eliminated certain fields of architecture. And what you see, and which is in a way really pleasant in Tirana, is the fact that there's a mixture, like everybody can do apparently what he wants, express himself in the way he wants. And it's this weird mixture of extreme ugliness and extreme beauty, which is really refreshing as such. Because I think every good city has ugliness as it has beauty. And often cities get frustrated when there are too many regulations blocking the way people express themselves in their buildings. And that's something you find less in Tirana. There is a kind of freshness and a directness which generates a city which feels good, really good. All the elements that are different, all in Albania, are presented as if they are problems. People talk about normalization and trying to be as the rest of the world is. And of course you can do that, and of course it's a valid approach, but as soon as you start to define every difference as a problem, you have amount of problems that becomes really big, and you have to struggle to come through that. I think Albania has the choice to try to solve problems that you define as a problem, or actually whatever you feel as being a problem, try to redefine it, not as a problem, but as a certain quality. Because in every condition, there's something hidden you can work with. And rather than trying to be the same like the rest of the world, which means you'll have to do enormous amount of changes, which means you will always be on the rear end of evolution. You rather should try to rethink the way Albania functions, see whatever your problem is, how you can redefine it as a quality, as a potential, and then define your own route. Don't copy other things, but take all the elements that are so special and do something which is different. Because I think in the end, the difference is what will make you special. Because I think the most urgent thing is to rethink your desires. Like, not to jump into answers. Like right now, the opposite answer is, okay, we start to build, and we build more, and we build more. And the big risk is that you build without a necessity. So you keep adding buildings there where actually there is no need for it. I think you should get a bit away from architecture and rethink the urbanism itself. Like, how can you modify your city? How can you adapt it to the current needs? Not necessarily with adding a lot of new elements, but reinterpreting, adding other possibilities. I think public spaces to readdress them. See how people live, communicate, work, and what you can do with that. So not necessarily adding a lot of new stuff, but transforming what is there, giving it a new life. Also like, for instance, your old icon buildings. See how you can transform them and add a layer to it, to this generation. I think it's critical to not start to erase your past, even the past you hate, but retake these elements and give them an extra layer. And it's something which generations have to do. And of course, each generation wants to restart, rethink, but then try also to find value in the work of other generations, even if they are from a completely different regime, a different time, different logic. When you talk about sustainability, it's also that, no tabula rasa, but reinterpreting, transforming as such. Knowing what other people are thinking, what other people are working with. Because in the end, it's not so bad that everybody has its own goal, but in the end, in order to really make changes, a generation should work together. And they only can work together when they know each other's ideas. And that's a way to formulate an ambition that is shared with many people. And like I said, see if you can work with all the elements where you are different. Because the biggest problem in the world nowadays is that things are coming so similar. And in the end, evolution is not from the elements that repeat, but in the elements that are different. And there I think you should deal with your qualities. I think it's a mental thing, first of all, defining strategies, but also defining the question, like what do you need, what do you want? Because in the end, what you want is what you get, so be careful about what you want.